Welcome. We are live. Welcome to Power Up. I'm Trisha Hirschberger here with the lovely and talented Maude Garrett.
Hi guys, so great to be back. Obviously, we had last week off, and it was very sort of necessary just to take a week to not be about us and not be about playing or watching or reading just for that particular time, so that we can be respectful and reconnect with matters and issues that are super important. But we are back now.
Yeah, or playing, watching, and reading things that help to educate us. I think we've all been taking part in that as well. So I hope that you guys had the opportunity to do that. And with that being said, I do want to point out, even though there's no overlay on the screen right now while we are live streaming, or if you're watching this later on Geek Bomb, all through the month of June in celebration of Black Lives Matter and Pride Month, I'm raising money for I Need Diverse Games. So if you use Command Donate or Command Charity in chat at any time throughout any streams this month, you'll get the information and the wherewithal to know where to donate to that. We've already raised over $1,700. Thank you guys so much. And wow. I'm giving away lots of peripherals and hardware and all sorts of fun nerdy things all through the month for every $500 raised. So that is something that's happening, and just wanted to let you know about that in honor of everything going on. But now that we are back with Power Up, talking, playing, watching, and reading, even though Maude and I have probably a lot of PWR we could catch you up on, we are so ecstatic to present for the first time to the Power Up pod, Mr. William Haynes.
William Haynes.
It's wonderful to be here today, ladies.
I didn't know this, but then Trisha shot me a message. She's like, "Did you know that Will pretty much has watched the entire show? Will is such a Power Up." And I was like, "Oh!" And I reached out to you. I was like, "That made my day."
Yeah, I love it. I don't know why, but I just was like, you know what? I need to just watch all of this, and I started watching all the episodes, and I loved it because all my friends are on it. So yeah, I guess I texted Trisha about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we had Alana on and Steve on, and you got to work with Alana on the IGN TV show you were on, and obviously you've worked with Steve for years at SourceFed.
Once you guys had Alana on, that's when it was trippy to me, because I was like, if I saw the three of you guys having a conversation somewhere, I would have to walk over. Like, so yeah, it was nice.
In three different parts of your life, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I was like, I can see why like people in the world would like see you guys as knowing each other, but I've spent a lot of time with all of you guys, but not ever at the same time. So I really liked it.
Yeah, that's something we laugh about a lot on Power Up, that Maude and I never actually got to work together at SourceFed. And Will, you're like the great connector because you were there for both periods.
Yeah. So yeah, like from like 2014, that's when I started working with you on camera, Trisha. Or yeah, that's when I met you too, because when you started working at SourceFed, I wasn't there. That's when I was working at BuzzFeed. So then I came back and worked in the T-shirt factory, and then I eventually became a host. And then like we did all that crazy stuff like we were talking about before we came on. And I was showing you clips of stuff that we're like, when did this happen?
Yeah, no joke. Will pulled out stuff that I'm like, we filmed what?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everyone forgets that we would do minimum 1 video a day, but up to like 3 videos a day. And that is just churning out so much content. And there, I was letting you know that we've got a Discord, Geek Bomb Discord, which is now actually open if you guys want to just join our Geek Bomb Discord now. And a lot of people have been posting clips of videos that I would do with you, whether it was for People Be Like or whether it was a SourceFed bit that you needed me to come in and just play a particular role. And I'm watching all of them going, I don't remember doing this.
Yeah.
And that's scary, because other things I remember from memory, but other things I'm just like, I just don't even recall this happening or existing. Did you, you said you had that as well?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, there's this one I just found of you where you're like, and I'm just a girl. And I forget what the sketch was, but you played the character so well, and it was so funny. And there was the one where I think you played like a newscaster, and I play like a guy that runs on your newscast.
That's
like,
right, yeah.
like you would think that you would remember doing these things like with vivid detail, but going back, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah. But the truth is, because at SourceFed, what was so beautiful about it was that the creativity was never limited. I can really only tell you of one time that I made a joke that I was in the process of making a video where they had to come to me and be like, you know what, Will, that might not be the best idea to do. And it was in hindsight, I'm like, wow, I was like really, I was so close from doing something just too adventurous creatively. And that was only one time I was stopped.
Do you remember what the idea was?
It's crazy. It's so untimely. But I was like, I'm gonna round up all of our Black employees, and it was gonna be like this huge like a police brutality statement, and it was inappropriate of the time, and and it was too much. And Ricky and Sophia, they were like Will, they were like as much as we see what you're trying to say, like you're being painful, and I was like, wow, you guys are right. And that was only one time that had ever happened, and it was rightfully so. So yeah, we did some crazy stuff.
Oh, that's actually not bad, because like you get a little bit scared putting out content that at that particular moment seemed either relevant or seemed appropriate or seemed funny, and then a decade, even 5 years goes past, and you're like, this isn't good anymore. Like. Yeah. Yeah. I get a little bit worried about once you put it out there, it's out there forever. But the way that time is doesn't last forever. And we're seeing it time and time again with people getting fired for comments that they made 10 years ago. And I totally get where the company's coming from, because even though it was said then, you're finding out about it now. And it's like, I cannot condone what you have said then, now.
I'm so lucky on that part. I mean, I'm sure I will get caught up, but like, as you may know, I didn't know you yet, Maude, but like I didn't curse at all, ever, my entire life until I was 20 years old.
So Rhydian Morgan started out his entire first year on SourceFed not cursing at all.
Not cursing, no curse words. It was my rule until December of 2014. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So like everybody's like, I'm like, my tweets from 2011 were so dry. Like, I mean, I'm sure you can go back and find something. But like,
well, my first job in Australia was on Nickelodeon. Like, I did not swear for the first time. I think I've done it once or twice ever.
Yeah, but then that year when I did start cursing, ooh-wee, it was painful. And then never again after that. Like, I literally can't switch back to my lingo to being, I always think to myself, I'm like, I think I should try to go like a whole year again without using any explicitives. Like, and still like try to stay just as funny or just as like relevant with the things I could. And I really do believe I could do it.
Yeah, Will, you know what would do that to you real quick? Hanging out around a little kid.
Yes.
Because I didn't curse a lot, and then I started SourceFed, and I was hanging out with Joe and Steve all day, which curse words are just flying, especially Steve. And so then I started cursing a lot more without even realizing it. But then once I had a little one that absorbs everything, I was like, ooh, I better turn this down before he can start like repeating things. And now he does repeat lots of stuff. And so I almost never curse anymore. So if you have like a niece or a nephew or anyone itty you can hang around, that'll knock the cursing out real fast.
It was crazy because I have never taken care of any kids. Like, on the show we were on, I was the youngest person. My whole life, I've always been the youngest person in the room because I was born later in the year in October. So I was put in school with kids that were like much older than me. So I've kind of always kept that up. Like, so since I've been here in the Bay Area, I got to spend time with like children. And it's like my cousins, like they're like 3 and 4 or something, maybe even 2 and 4. And like, it was the most wholesome experience of my life. Like the little girl she was holding me, she started to love me, and I could really feel it. So yeah, you're right. Like, I was like, man, I really want to be my best self around them. Because my mom is really great at raising kids. And we took them to the park, and I've never, ever in my life spent any time with children. So I'm like running around the park and they're chasing me. And I was like, this is so nice. So we tucker them out. They're tired. We put them in their seatbelts. I never put no kid in a seatbelt. We bring them back to the house, and my mom gets out of the car and goes in the house. And the kids who've been sweet to me this whole time, they're like, booty. I'm like, what? And they started saying words that they thought were like curse words. And I was like, what happened to these golden children? And I tried to get the little girl out the seatbelt, and she slapped me. I was like, what? I was like, kids do this? It was because my mom had went away that they were like, wow, we're gonna wild out. So yeah, kids will trip you out.
They will. And Will, when we were back at SourceFed, you were like the kid because you were the younger one. You were the next generation. Like, one of the jokes I always tell people, not really a joke, but like, you know, when I talk about like when I realized it was a good time for me to move on from SourceFed, is I said, you know, they brought in this like younger generation of wonderful hosts. And I remember one time being in a video with you, Will. I don't remember if it was a table talk or I think it was a white wall, actually. But I remember being in a video with you and making either a Ghostbusters 2 reference or a Neverending Story reference. And you were like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I was like, oh man, this is making me look so old. I gotta get out of here. Like, I was everybody here being so much younger than me is gonna make me look old really fast. So I was like, okay, maybe time to move on. And I did. I moved to a channel that had like pretty much all people in their 30-somethings talking about tabletop and video games. So it made a lot more sense. But Will, you would bring in stuff all the time. Like, I don't think this ever aired. And remember when you would, because I don't remember if this is just something you did in the office or if this was something we actually made a video out of, but you used to make like hashtag SourceFed so white commentary and like quiz us on stuff.
Okay, that was another idea that I wanted to do. That
did we ever make a video out of that?
Yeah, it was. No, I don't think I did. And I had another name for the show, and it was way cruder. And I don't think I should even say it. But yeah. But yeah, like it was great.
The artwork with all of the hosts, like in a 4 rows with SourceFed, and it's like, yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. I find that funny, but I have a photo that I posted maybe once or twice of me on all of the shows that I've been on, and not all of the shows, but a majority of like the 3 main shows that I've been on. And I'm the only black person on all of them. And I find it so funny because I'm a professional black friend. Like, I forget who I was just talking to this about. And I think it was on someone's podcast, but I was like, you know, like, I'm an artist. I'm a comedian. I'm a musician. I'm a rapper. You know, I'm an actor. But what actually gives me money? Like, I get paid to be people's black friend. So I was like, man, I really could make a video about what it's like to be a professional black friend and which of these corporations treat you the best. But I was like, you know, I already got so much smoke on me already. Maybe I don't have to.
Well, I will tell you, Will, at least from where I was standing, when you got brought on to SourceFed as a host, you were brought on because you were funny as hell. That's why you were brought on. Like, they were like, we need to put Will on camera because he's so dang funny.
I think I'm insecure about it, and I don't think that I was funny at all back then, but we were talking about it beforehand. I've like really been watching a lot of old SourceFed stuff. I've been watching everything I can on YouTube, unlike in a long time. But yeah, I've been watching my old stuff and my stuff before SourceFed, and I actually made myself laugh. And I was like, I texted it to Darren, and I was like, wait, I actually was funny before. And my insecure brain, my ego makes me think that I wasn't back then because I just was like so sad, and I pulled so much creativity from that sadness. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that type of creativity doesn't have longevity to it. And like in so many comedians that we know, you know, they delve so deep into that darkness because as a comedian, it kind of makes you stronger quicker, that sadness. But in my anime vision, in 2016, I realized I was like, if I want my creativity to last, I was like, I need to become a happy person. And I had this thought while washing the dishes one day, and I was like, so yeah, because of that, I kind of put all that sad stuff on me as not being good. But I look back and I'm like, yeah, it actually was pretty funny.
Yeah, you were funny as hell. Because you know, I think you went from, as you say, T-shirt factory. You went from 4 Human Peoples to like general intern, right? And then from general intern or editor / intern, but you never really edited.
Okay, how it went was I applied to be Phil's intern in December of 2011. By coincidence, every month I've dated has been December. But December 2011, I applied to be Phil DeFranco's intern. I didn't know about SourceFed. At the intern, I remember this is where I met Darren, and I remember Darren was laughing so hard at all my jokes. I met Darren, I met Audrey, I met Danny at the interview, and I interviewed, I got it. The internship was only 3 months. Thought I was interviewing for Phil. I interviewed for I got the SourceFed job. I like put up the soundproofing in the SourceFed building. It was only 3 months. I didn't have a car, so I didn't get to keep it. I then went to go work for Zay Frank, whose company then got bought by BuzzFeed Games, and I accidentally became BuzzFeed's first video intern in California. That went on for a couple months, and then I worked at the T-shirt factory. Christy, who only just stopped working for Phil recently, she hired me on to work in the T-shirt factory. I think that lasted 3 months, and then that's when Turney left, and Elliot was actually, I was just reminded of it by someone that we were going to create a pop culture channel that was going to be me, Elliot, Lieberman. And me, Elliot, and Lieberman, it was going to be a pop culture channel. But
you're right. I totally forgot about that.
Right. But then Elliot ended up leaving. So then I applied to be a host, and I was so nervous. What makes me so mad is that no one has my audition tape, because just being me now, I would laugh so hard at how nervous I was at something that I could do so easily now.
I saw. No, I didn't. Sorry. When I auditioned for SourceFed, they sent me a video that you had done on SourceFed as reference.
Yeah. I remember when you auditioned, because Darren was the producer at the time, and we had the studio open, and we got to see a lot of people. And I remember us being really excited about you. And,
I auditioned with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Did I get up there and read with you?
Yeah. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. I remember the interviews, because we saw a lot of people, and and I remember obviously specifically you and like 2 or 3 other women that we were looking for, and and then you were the one that we ended up choosing. So yeah, it was great.
Yep, we had a similar. Oh, go ahead, Maude.
I also did my first white wall ever with you, and my first table talk with you.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Yeah, I remember us doing that table talk. Now, the lot that I don't remember, and I have a really good memory, I feel. I do remember us going to do that table talk, and I think I had that cow stick or something.
Oh, something, yeah.
I had this thing, because there was a walk to the table talk table. I had this thing where I would always grab something random. I would never choose what it was. Like, as I was walking to table talk to spice it up, I would grab anything and just hold it as long as I could to put in there. Yeah.
I remember we talked about poop a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, at the time we were like so mad at table talk. We were so tired with it. We felt like we had talked to each other about everything. But in hindsight, it was actually such a fun show to do, and I wish I could still do now.
Apparently that was a real test. They put me in with you and Steve, because if I could last and survive or excel with 2 of the most difficult people with talk, then that was like wow, she can actually host.
Well, Steve had this, like, I don't know why, but if Steve was put on with me and Lieberman, he decided he was like, oh, I'm going to do it bad. If it was me, him, and Lieberman, he was like, I'm going to fuck it up. Oops, can I say that? But he was always like, I'm going to fuck it up. And I was like, yeah, I don't know why you're like this, Steve, but. Yeah.
I think Steve is so funny to host with, because I've seen him host with other people that, like, he guests on their show and it's a solo hosted show or something. So it's just Steve and one other on-camera person. And dude, he trolls everybody so hard all the time that, like, seriously, co-hosting with Steve, I feel like, is an acquired skill.
We used to call it getting the gigs, like, where you just couldn't stop laughing. And I don't know if I've had anyone do that to me since. Steve would like.
You made me laugh for the longest in any table talk ever. I think I laughed for a minute straight after we spoke about peanut butter. because you can't have crunchy. You don't remember this?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, huh?
Crunchy peanut butter hurts your teeth, and I lost it.
Oh yeah, that's why people do always say that to me, that they always reference that I don't like crunchy peanut butter. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know why people know that, but you just triggered in my memory why people know that I don't like crunchy.
Time starts, and it's like a minute straight of me like giggling my head off because you're like, yeah, I like smooth peanut butter. Crunchy peanut butter hurts my teeth. And I was just like, I've never heard that before ever. And I just found it hilarious.
It's true. And now I totally forgot about that. But yeah, I gotta find that clip.
Well, and going back to what you were saying, Will, about like we made so much content back in the day that we never ended up watching, that we don't even know what's on the internet of ourselves that we put out years and years ago, which is really funny when you run into someone and they say, oh, Will, you don't like crunchy peanut butter. And you're like, how the hell do you know that about me?
Yeah.
It's because it just happened.
I've been really lucky that you can see me grow up on camera in a ways that is very much of this time. I was making videos, like I was really lucky to get on SourceFed, but I was prepared for it because I had already made like at least 300 of my own videos before that.
Wow.
So like I have videos dating back to maybe 2009 of me literally in the room that I'm in now, like trying to become the person that I am today. And so yeah, like I really, it's crazy to be able to go online, type in just about any day, especially because of SourceFed, and I've been doing it lately, and saying, what were we talking about on February 22nd, 2015? And you're like, oh, that's what it was.
Just before we wrap this up, the interview portion up on this, I do want to say one of my favorite things about SourceFed and having such unique hosts is that everyone had their own particular hosting style or something that they brought to the table or this beautiful uniqueness. But also we all started adopting traits from other people throughout that time. We all kind of like meshed into each other a little bit. Steve picked up your good morning, Trish, who I then picked up that from him. So that was just like passed around. There was just a number of things that we would just slowly adopt because, we'd spend so much time around each other.
Yeah, Steve, you know, like I've spent my life analyzing Steve. And Steve's superpower is that Steve can do anybody's bit better than they can do their own.
I agree with that. Yeah. And I've ever since I learned that from him, I've seen that other people who are artists that can do the same thing. Like Drake is someone that I've liked. He can do somebody else's flow better than them. And it's because Steve is so incredibly empathetic. Like one of my favorite things is like, I remember one time, like Steve, he cannot control taking on the feelings of the people around him. And I remember one time I was sweating because I think I was running or something. And then I started laughing. And when he saw me, looked at me sweating, laughing, he took it in as like I was laughing so hard, I was sweating. I was like crying, that he started laughing so hard that he was crying because he literally he can't help it. He's like, it would be exhausting living life to that. Cause I'm the opposite. Like it's really hard I have to really like you for your energy to get into me. But yeah, what you're saying is true because like Joe on Phil's podcast, he said that, he was like not Will's rap side, but Will got his comedy side from Steve. And I had to think about it for a second. And I was like, Steve taught me so much. Like I really thought about it for a while, and I've known this for a while. It's like all of my techniques are my own, but like I learned them in some way from Steve. He's like my sensei. And what he taught me that is the most important is how to be myself, or that being yourself is okay. And so I was 20 years old and he was like, 32 at the time. And like, we would, and that's what, that became my North Star for comedy or anything I do is like, finding a way how to put yourself, keeping yourself into anything you do. And yeah, that's what I like.
You had a very distinct hosting style, though, that was uniquely yours. And I almost feel like you adopted political speeches because you would put these emphasis on particular words and how you would talk and how you would hit these particular points. It was really quite like you were able to listen to it and it was kind of fun hosting without it looking like you were reading. But yeah, I definitely noticed that about you. You had a very specific hosting way.
Yeah, because I was also the only person, I think, in SourceFed history who actually wanted to do news. I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to go to college to be a reporter for a newspaper, but my dad was like, "Nah, you're gonna go to film school," and I was devastated. But if he hadn't done that, I went to college September 2011. I got the internship for SourceFed in December 2011. So if my dad hadn't made me move to LA in 2011, I wouldn't have been there to. And like being a journalist, what is it today? Like, what is being a journalist? Apparently, we're trying to lock journalists up. So I think my dad somehow made the right decision, because I've realized that what it is that I have to give to the world isn't necessarily being a politician or being anything like that. It's like my happiness is being an artist. And but I did want to be a journalist back in the day.
So you were a doer. I always appreciated that about you.
What was that, Maude?
William was one of the people at SourceFed, and not everyone was, but the one thing that I really appreciated about you, Will, was that you were a doer. You would be like, give me time, give me resources. I have all these ideas and I want to do them all. And that was nearly rare. Like that, not everyone kind of had that mentality. They were just happy to rock up, do the job, and then leave. But it was so much more than that for you. I kind of connected, and I respected the shit out of that.
I thank you so much, because I really wanted it. What SourceFed was, I really wanted it so bad. Like, I used to watch all of Phil's videos. I wanted a way to be a journalist and also be a comedian at the same time. Back in the day, my main goal was to be the host of The Daily Show, but then they gave it to Trevor Noah, and I was like, damn. So SourceFed was the closest thing I could have had to that.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
I was going to say, we all get tired eventually and we start to resent it. Because I don't know if I've ever talked about it, but they actually tried to give me SourceFed. They wanted me to leave People Be Like and to do SourceFed. They wanted me to take John and Jessica off of People Be Like and put us on SourceFed. And I remember at the time, it was like, I could hear Lee in my head. It was like, it's a sinking ship. It's a sinking ship. And I was like, should I do People Be Like and get to create my own creative things, or should I uproot my team? And, I was like, I could have done it. Like, I had already written, like, I could write all 5 white walls myself every day, and for all the other people. And it would be no sweat to me. And I was like, can I do this? But at the end, I chose to stick with People Be Like, and they gave it to other people. But you're right. I really wanted it. But eventually you just don't want to for some reason.
But People Be Like was awesome, and you did such an amazing job with it. And I mean, we've been waxing a lot of poetic about all of our time together in the past at SourceFed and People Be Like, and working with Phil and working together. But what are you up to now, Will? Give us a glimpse of William Haynes in 2020.
Wow, William Haynes in 2020, it's been absolutely crazy. During the pandemic, I've been taking care of my family. That has been ridiculous. I actually have been, since I've been in the Bay Area, I've really gotten in tune with who I am in a way that I wouldn't have been if I had spent this time in LA. I'm so glad I'm not in LA during the pandemic. But right now, I'm going to start posting videos on my channel, William Haynes TV. I just posted one about Lauren Sabino, my former stalker. And I have a video coming out. I might put it out Monday, actually, because it's about my mom is in love with a YouTuber. And my mom is in love with a casino YouTuber. Believe it or not, there are gambling YouTube channels.
I did not know that.
And there's this man named BC Slots who just gambles, and my mom watches it for 6 hours a day because she can't go to the slot machines herself. So I have that video coming out soon.
And Will, where can everybody find these videos?
On William Haynes TV. I'm gonna have to give People Be Like a break for a while because I can't be in the studio and do all that stuff and connect all those people as much as I love doing it. But I can post videos on my channel. It's just me with the people I'm in quarantine with. So
Sweet. And you get to join us on our show, which is so fantastic too. But we're wrapping up the interview portion of this. We've got to do playing, watching, and reading. And we'll chat to you about what you are doing throughout pandemic in those 3 categories. But we're going to take a little bit of a break before we get stuck into your power.
Yay, Will.